Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda or water and coffee in the fridge. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
How you living? How you doing?
This is the first Sunday in months, COVID included, where I had nothing to do.
Wow.
So I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, you're recording a podcast, so maybe, this ain't nothing,
nothing.
You're chilling.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
You're still promo. You're still, on the grind, the hustle.
Grind.
And for those of you that don't know who I am sitting with today, I am sitting with the one and only INEZ. Make some noise for the internet.
Hello.
Happy to have you.
Thank you for
those
having
of you
me.
that are unfamiliar with INEZ, you're a singer, songwriter, producer, musician, wearer of many hats.
Yes.
Why don't you let the people know from your words what it is that you do?
I am a nerd. And that nerddom has brought me into being an audio engineer, a producer. I didn't know that I wanted to be an artist till much later in my life. But absolutely, I've always loved music. I've always wanted to know what all the buttons did on stuff. I had a grandfather who was, he used to fix electronics. So his basement was like a nerd layer of things that I didn't know how to work.
Okay.
But I thought they were cool. So I think between that and like growing up as like a young kid in the 90s, I didn't have a choice to love music. Yeah. It was everywhere.
What were you doing? Did you have any sort of a creative outlet prior to getting into music?
It was just music. My dad,
just music,
it was
just
just
straight,
like,
that's it.
I remember clear as day, like 3 years old, flipping over a garbage can in my living room with my dad and just having the craziest time. He was a drummer. So like, I want to be like my dad. Don't tell him I said that, but that's what it was.
It's super cool whenever you talk with a musician that comes from a background whose family was like into music and encouraging. It's nice to hear that story.
I don't know that it was always encouraging.
Okay.
Starting out when you third grade, you get that instrument, you bring it home, and your mom's like, "Oh my goodness, if you don't practice that before I get home, because you're a little rocky." No, I had like really cool big cousins who like used to do like rap ciphers in my grandma's living room. So like it was literally always around me. It wasn't fair. I didn't have a choice to do anything else.
And then did you grow up in Pittsburgh?
I grew up in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Born and raised on the east side. I pretty much split my time between Homewood and Wilkinsburg.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool area. My grandma lived in Wilkinsburg and I pretty much grew up at my grandma's house.
Yeah.
So, I have like fun memories just like, skateboarding around Penn Avenue by where like what used to be a Revco. Now I think it's a Rite Aid or something by the KFC. That's like weird memories. And I was then I would just skateboard in the Revco parking lot and I would ask my grandma for money so I could buy Magic the Gathering cards at the Revco. Yeah. And then, go to either the KFC or the Taco Bell that was over there. And that whole area is just like, I don't know. It's where I grew up too, and I'm very, very, very fond of it.
I know, it's the weirdest thing. Like I was really excited when Hebrew Brantley put that mural on the side of the building behind KFC. I was like, what? It's just a random building we always walk by as kids. So it's really cool to see like that immortalized too. Yeah.
All right, so from being a 3-year-old flipping garbage cans, banging on them, to now 2020, you've put out a debut album, which we should probably talk about. Let me scroll down to it real quick, pull it up on the screen. So we got this here, Voicemails and Conversations. What's up with this? What was the journey like getting this thing together?
Man, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of heartache. I'm a loving person. And it seems that I always kind of catch people who they need love, but they don't know how to express their feelings. And so I always overextend myself, and I wanted to be that everything for one person. So Voicemails and Conversations is actually like my navigation through love, the different types of love, familiar, romantic, platonic, from like my childhood to like now. which you can kind of hear on some of the songs and pieces in that. But it's a work of my life. It's not even just like an album. This is literally like, here's how I love. Yeah. Here's how I think.
I was gonna ask, as I know that, like, aside from writing these songs, you handled a lot of the production and things on this album.
Yeah.
And I do want to throw this out there off the bat. I think it's great.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of really cool outside the box things.
Yeah.
And you explaining what the album is and what it means to you, I can hear it, because there's stuff that sounds like really nice and pretty, and stuff that sounds like grimy and gross and kind of like, like this is messed up. And that's, how it can be, like all the elements of human emotion I hear in this album. And I think it's great. And that's why I always love to hear music from artists who are able to be more self-produced and take the reins on like so many controls and so many aspects of the album, because it really, you hear their voice like 110%.
Yeah. It was scary because I didn't want to, when you self-produce, you don't want to make an album that sounds like every song sounds the same.
Yeah.
You can definitely box yourself in. So like I had a lot of self-doubt going in this project. Like Clara can't.
Well, you're an artist. You're supposed to have some self-doubt.
Yeah. Clara Can't was the reason why a lot of the songs are on the album, because I like hated a lot of stuff. I was like, I don't like it. It's too weird. Still have the box. People aren't going to get it. And she was like, shut up. That song is hard. She said that a lot. So shout out to Clara.
Shout outs to Clara.
That's why I credit her with quality control for my album for that very reason. Like,
okay.
She gets a Grammy if I get a Grammy.
Clara's awesome. She's a previous guest of the show, friend, family.
Yeah, that's my sister, man.
She's awesome. And this album is great. I think, to hear something that sounds so diverse and so well thought out, I can tell that this just wasn't something that you threw together in a few months.
No.
So I'm curious about, like, when did the beginning of what became this album, when did it really start to come together for you?
I made the folder with the title in 2016. Okay. Now, anyone who works on music knows that an album title is not concrete until it's out. But something about that stood out for me. I originally was going to do this project with my exes. All of them. All of them gave me the green thumb. Like, yeah, I'll help you out. We'll, because I was going to sit down with them. We were going to discuss certain things. And when I got the grant from the Heinz Endowment to do this, every single one of them backed out. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, what do I have?
Were you surprised?
I mean, looking back, no, you know what? Them backing out, I think it made me go be way more honest than I was going to be.
Sure, that's good.
So I was like, oh, you don't want to do it. So now I'm really going to tell what happened. But yeah, I had voicemails. I'm sorry. I would just outed myself as a creep. But the earliest voicemail I have is from 2007. So the first track actually has the end. There's two parts of it. There's my vocal introduction, and then there's this voicemail. It's actually from one of my exes. Okay. I changed his voice up a bit so he can't sue me, but yeah, that's not his natural voice, if anyone was doubting that. No, so I've had voicemails. Sometimes when I'm having a really deep conversation with somebody that I care about, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I throw my phone out? So I have my big sister on the end of Heartbeat. But also a really cool thing was, since I'm a nerd, I pulled out our family's VCR, and we have a bunch of family tapes from when we were kids that my granddad, my pop-pop had recorded. So I went back and ripped audio from those tapes.
That's awesome.
And so they're on there too. So he passed away. So it's really sometimes sad when I get to Don't Stop when I hear his voice, and I'm like, oh man. Yeah, but I wanted him to be a part of the project too. So yeah.
So you've brought up on several occasions that you are a nerd.
I'm a super nerd.
And I'm curious, mentioning, or going back to you mentioning, having an album folder with the name of the song. Yeah. Are you very organized in all aspects of your... No, really? Okay.
I'm like, if you walk into my studio, there's XLRs on the floor or something. Oh goodness, I'm out of myself. My XLR cables are not wrapped up. Sometimes I'm in a session and I'm rolling over I'm just not that organized. I'm getting better because I'm getting older, and organized that.
I'll tell you what, I'll out myself a little bit real quick to make you feel better. The reason why everything is real tidy right now is because your boy ain't been using it. I've been busy doing other stuff. You know, a messy studio means it's being used. It's like a kitchen. You know what I mean? You see a stove that's dirty. It's like that sucks. It's dirty, but at least they're eating.
Yeah. No, that was a bad example. Clean kitchens only.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, at least they ate recently. Yeah. Maybe, unless there's like, you know, some weird popcorn. Like, how'd that even get there? So with you and this whole project, obviously before you got into putting this album together, I imagine you had to have been doing some production and like audio engineering, or was it like, were you like learning as you put this album together?
No, I graduated from Berkeley in 2018.
Okay.
And I kind of just like fell into the right people, I guess. Like I started going to a couple open mics and then seeing names, like putting faces to the social profiles to actual people.
Open mics here or when you were at school?
Here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then one weird day, my high school band director was running sound at the sports bar in Squirrel Hill. I forget the name of it.
Okay.
And the band was playing. Matter of fact, Brandon Lehman, he was on guitar.
Yeah. He's been on the show.
The Ed and Sparks trio. Yeah.
Yep.
So
shout outs to Brandon.
So they're like, hey, my band director's like, hey, she sings. And I'm like, dude, I just came here to listen. And like from that moment on, everyone's like, oh, you sing? And then I'm like, well, I'd rather produce, but yeah, I do sing. So I kind of got like kicked on the field. And since then it's just been, I can't even explain. It's been a whirlwind, to be honest with you.
Do you still feel like that you would rather produce, or are you happy now being more in the forefront?
No, I found that the stage is my happy place. Okay. It's like, it's the only place outside of like cooking, because I love cooking, where I don't think. I'm just...
All right, that's why you got real sensitive about that clean kitchen thing.
Yeah, clean kitchen. I'm super like... It's why I'm really sad right now. It's when COVID hit and things shut down, I literally had gigs that entire week. So it was like, damn, like I've been working hard, working on my arrangements and practicing, and that's not gonna happen. So
it's okay. I mean, you could still be practicing and getting stuff together. Like I've said on several occasions, like whenever we're able to play some shows again, there's no excuse for every single performer to not be on fire. Everybody's had so much time. That's
the thing. I told my keys player Schwa, he's my MD. I said, listen, we're gonna work on our arrangements, because when they give us the green light, the katana's coming out. I'm cutting heads off. There will be no doubt in my mind that INEZ is that girl. Like, I don't play about when it comes to stage. It's like, I grew up watching Amazing Legends. Like, my dad was the biggest Boyz II Men fan. So I've seen what an amazing show looks like. And I'm not talking about just performing, like a tour ready show. So that's kind of what I've been putting my energy into now. And I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
It's probably a really good segue to talk about the crowdfunding stuff.
Yeah.
Because, you know, with all this fun stuff that we want to do, it doesn't come cheap, unfortunately.
No.
So why don't you tell us about this crowdfunding thing that's going on right now?
So my crowdfund is... There's like big, huge things I want to accomplish with it. I want to be able to shoot a stunning visual of clouds with Clara Kent. That's really big on the list. I am rolling out merch for the first time this fall. I've actually partnered with Public Print House.
Nice.
Over in Homewood. Did not know that. Shout out to Jules.
Yeah, I used to work in that building before Public was there. There was a really weird like computer supply company that I just like picked orders at, but again.
So that's a really big part of it. Digital marketing for the album. The album has done very well without being marketed. However, you know, for the reach that I want, I have a wonderful person, and her name is Markia Hart. She's a digital marketer. She's going to be helping me do that. And then, should all those things be accomplished, just pouring money into my band. You know, like we need inner monitors. We're in Pittsburgh. We know where we're performing. Yeah. We know there's gigs where we can't hear each other, or, you know, we can't tell what the house is hearing. So we just kind of want to invest into our own things.
Yeah, I bought my own PA that we bring with us places.
Yeah.
Like, you're
rolling the dice in Pittsburgh when you're talking about live sound. And I did one gig where I realized I was shooting my voice out. And I was like, I am an R&B singer, a soul singer. I cannot do that. I was like, no. So we're going to build a rack so we can not only do shows here, but outside of the city. I was getting a lot of opportunities to perform outside of Pittsburgh before COVID. So I think the crowdfunding is going to also help us get a travel nest egg together so that, when duty calls, when it's safe, we'll be able to roll out.
Yeah. It's so important, and it's so unfortunate how underappreciated local artists are in terms of the amount of money that we have to spend and the work that just goes into something as simple as like, we're just trying to go to Cleveland for the weekend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's easily like a $500 trip. Yeah. And, not a whole lot of artists just have like $500 in an envelope and like, well, let me blow this and hope that people come watch us play. Yeah.
Not only that, like my guys, I love them. The Homewood Sound Machine is my band. Shout out to Gloria Estefan. I completely ripped her idea, but it is what it is. Don't sue me. Yeah, like my guys, they show up. They show out. It's one thing that people don't realize how many hours go into it before you even see us perform. Like we're taking nights out of the week. My brother, he's in my band. He's married. He has 2 daughters. My other bassist, he has 3 kids. He was married. So like, these guys are pulling time away from their families after a long day of work to come rehearse with us so we can give you, a performance that most places here are only charging, $10 for. Yeah. So, I want to make sure that we sound good. If we put all that time in, I want to make sure we're sounding great on stage. So crowdfunding's going to help with that too.
Yeah. It's great that all of this stuff is coming together. And I think that it's really awesome that you already have a cool team of people in your court. That you're doing these things already, because for some people it takes them years to think about this. Yeah. And I think that maybe it's kind of the positive side of like being in a situation where you're making music that is already more public friendly. It's not like this weird punk rock stuff where it's like, because I come from that background. I do hip hop stuff, but I'm also in a death metal band, and those are 2 different beasts in terms of marketing and like how you go about doing things. A lot of it's the same, but a lot of it's different. And I've been doing this podcast now for almost 6 years, and I've talked to plenty of people, and there's so many people that I've talked to that have been making music for like a decade that have never once thought about like, I'm going to have, or not that they don't think about it, but they'll complain about the fact that they have to put money into promoting stuff. And I'm just like, what the fuck do you think this is? Like, it's fine if you don't want to put money into it, but you can't complain about it simultaneously. Yeah. You know what I mean?
This is expensive.
Yeah. And unbelievably expensive.
I take the brunt of the hits because like I'd rather my guys get paid than I get paid. So like when we do a gig and it's essentially $50 a person, I'm like, I don't even need paid. You guys already showed up for me here. Take it. And I want to be able to pay them what they're actually worth and not nickels. So those days are coming, but there's so much investing you have to do. I have a team now. I'm very Beyonce Knowles in a lot of ways, but I'm learning to delegate. So like my merch was designed by Erica Kellerman. My photographer is Nicolette. I have a makeup artist. I have a stylist. I have all these people now that take the pressure off of me so that I say, hey, I want to look like this. I want to do that. They take their talent, their expertise, and they bring it back to me. And I'm able to just focus on showing up. I'm able to focus on performing. I'm able to focus on creating the content. And so it's really cool to be in this little pocket now. But yeah, even that, I can't just ask people to do stuff for free. No, that's not going to happen.
That having people like that by your side that give a shit about what you're doing and are willing to help you is invaluable. Yeah. Like you can't put a dollar amount on somebody that actually believes in what you're doing.
Yeah. My cousin Roxy, she's my stylist and she does my makeup, and she when she has a vision, she actually that was her styling.
Okay.
So like she has a vision and she's like, no, Danielle. She doesn't call me Inez or Danielle. She's like, no, Danielle, you're going to wear this. And I'm just like, okay, mom. She's like my show mom.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man, like having people like around you who are equally as talented in their area has been like the biggest blessing. And it's really cool because the team of people, they're good people too. I can't stress that enough, having that positive energy around you at all times. So blessed.
Absolutely.
Super.
one of the things that I think is really cool about you, from what I'm hearing in regards to your live performance, is that you're taking the time to work with musicians and actually have a show versus just doing the backtrack, which, I mean, we've all done it.
Yeah.
It happens from time. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, what was your inspiration to like taking that extra step and trying to get these extra people involved? Was it just wanting to have like a full tour ready show?
No. Okay. So I got Pittsburgh's Very Own. And I was excited because I was like, I don't even have any music out. What? So I got Pittsburgh's Very Own, and I didn't pick my band. My band, like, just God just brought all these humans to me because I didn't think it was possible. I knew as a musician how much it goes into like performing with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had asked for 3 guys: my bassist, Mike Mitchell, my drummer, Carvis Fisher, and my brother, Isaiah Blue. That was it. And I was like, okay, so I have drums, guitar, and bass. And then bonus player, I was hanging out around Benji, and I noticed his keys player. So we became friends, and I asked him. So he like joined the rank. He was only supposed to play like one like small gig with me. He was only supposed to play Pittsburgh's Very Own. And then he just kind of like loved the environment because they all had known each other. And I was like, this just feels really good. This feels like a little family. So yeah, they're like, all right, are we doing this? If we're doing this, we're doing this. And so like, you know, they became my official backing band. I've only done like 2 performances without them. And I don't prefer backing tracks because typically when we're talking about Pittsburgh sound, we're talking about some dry little reverb. Maybe no one's doing like vocal throws or like adding delay to your voice. Yeah. It's like this can get really boring very quickly. And I love live. As a musician, I love the conversation between other musicians. That's super important. And I don't think people think about that enough. Yeah. Because we all lean on each other on stage. Like certain songs, my bassist has to be perfectly locked with my drummer or else it's going to sound crazy. Pardon Me is one of those songs that can sound crazy quickly. But yeah, I know what a show goes. Like I know when I go to a show, I want to have that bass hit my chest. I want to have that keys player doing crazy stuff. I know I want, you know, the lead guitarist like absolutely shredding. So I was like, why not for myself? Yeah. And when it came together, there was a couple practices. I was like, I don't know, guys. It can. Yeah.
Especially when, you know, you're writing these songs, then other people are learning stuff that you've written, and you got to learn how to compromise a bit. 'Cause it's never 110% the same.
Absolutely.
So like there might be a different drum rhythm or something. And like maybe that drum rhythm locks in with a vocal pattern and you're like, no, it has to be like this. Like it's
my guys are good. They know my language. I speak a language. I don't speak down to them. They play with me. They don't play for me. Yeah. And so like, there's definitely times where I'm like, I'll tell my keys player, those aren't the colors I want. And he knows what I mean. He was like, that works melodically. It's just not the color that I want. Or my drummer will do something. I'm like, that's not it. Like, listen to the track. I want it a little bit closer to that. So I think me being a musician, I know how to speak to other musicians, so it doesn't come off as I'm just like this tyrant who cracks a whip. And there's compromises because sometimes they do stuff that I didn't want, but it sounds amazing. And I'm like, nope, you do that. Yeah. And so that's trusting their gift. And a lot of people you have to realize that these guys, they're good.
Oh, that's something that I bring up all the time when I'm talking about people that are playing with full bands of people. It's like, if somebody has an idea, listen to it. Yep. Because if you have somebody in the room whose opinions you don't trust, why are they in the room? Yeah. You know, if you have faith in them as a musician, let them play.
And they honestly, they bloom when you give them space. That's one thing I love. Like we all can bring together ideas. Like there's times where like I'll be talking to my drummer and I'm like, yeah, you know, we got to talk to him about that. Or like I'll talk to my keys player and he's like, yeah, we got to get that together. But we can all bring those ideas forward in a way that's not cliquey or weird. Like we're literally a family. Those are my brothers. Those are my brothers. Those are my guys.
Do you think in the future you'll do any studio recordings with them?
So the record Stay With Me on my album was supposed to be a live orchestration. we just didn't have time for it. So I was like,
Gotcha.
all right, strip everything out. We'll just keep it keys and we'll keep it my vocals. But I'm either planning on doing the entire album live or just for like my second project, having more live components. But I definitely want to get my Robert Glasper on in the studio with my guys, because there's just, I love it, man. There's nothing like a live studio album.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I had maybe a similar sort of thing that happened with me and my band, where I was just making beats and rapping, and I was just like, I hate being by myself.
Yeah.
But getting a band seems like an impossible thing.
Yeah.
But
it can be.
It just came together.
Yeah.
Luckily, just because I had met a lot of people, and you find the right people and it happens.
Yeah.
And then slowly afterwards, it's like, I think I still just want to make beats, but like they'll play the shows. But slowly it was like, okay, well, how about we'll do guitar on one song? And then like, oh, okay, let's record drums on this song. And the next thing you know, it just, it'll sneak its way in.
Yeah.
And what I like to do now is we pretty much record everything, but I'll like sample a lot of their stuff, and like I'll create like loops out of live instruments. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So it still sounds like looped hip hop sample stuff, but like my guys actually playing it versus me like ripping it from some record or something like that. So the possibilities are endless.
They're literally endless. And like the funny thing is, like, there's times where like if my brother can't make it on guitar, I'll be like, all right, well, I have this track where I can just throw that in there, but everything else will still be live.
Yeah.
So you're right. The possibilities are endless, but I'm also in a place of privilege because I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
So like, imagine if I didn't have any technical like abilities within the studio realm, I would be like a little stuck actually. But yeah,
it's always interesting to me whenever I communicate with people that are doing stuff that's similar. It could be R&B or hip hop, rap, whatever. A beat focused project where the artist that is, it's their project, but they have no connection to the music. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I got a producer that, is in the UK that I buy beats off of. And like, that's fine. But like, how do you like really establish a relationship, and how do you make songs that are like your own? I mean, granted, some of these people make some great music, but I just feel like that wouldn't be for me. I could never imagine just like doing that all the time.
Every song that I did not produce in full, so it's probably like 4 tracks maybe, I still was the overbearing person. So like, you could ask Picasso, his name is Hussein, his name is Picasso, beat maker. I love that guy. He did Part of Me and Heartbeat. He kind of just like, I heard it and I was like, give me that. And Part of Me, I was like, ooh, there's something there, but it's also a sample, which we got cleared.
Nice.
From a Brazilian artist. I did not think that was going to happen. I was like, she said yes. Oh, yes. But no, that song in particular, I knew I loved it. I knew there were pieces of it that I loved, but I was like, I need to like INEZify this thing. So you can ask him, like, Charlie C. Scott played bass on it.
Oh, nice.
I had C. Scott replay the bass like 4 times.
Another previous guest of the show. I feel like everybody you know has been in the chair at one point or another.
Yeah, and he loved it. He was like, man, I love the fact that she knows exactly what she wants. So he got me exactly what I wanted. And then I went back to Picasso and said, hey, Charlie put this down. I need you to like shift the drums a bit. And he came over, and he literally came over. It was like 2 hours. And I was just like, now nudge, 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 nudge. That's it. Send me the stones. And I added cowbell. I took executive privilege there. But so I think aside from Heartbeat, even the tracks I got from other people, I still arranged.
You're still
arranged.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie and say I'm the best music theory person or whatever.
Nobody is.
I hear it.
Yeah.
And I try to get it as close to I hear it in my head.
It's not about being the best musician or knowing theory. It's just, what your voice is. You know what you want to say, whether it's lyrically or musically, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I wanted that swing to be in a specific way. And then now when I listen to it, I'm like, this is so good. This is exactly what I wanted. Because I wanted to pay homage to the Brazilian, like the styling. And I was like, I want this to feel like soul hip hop. So that was really cool.
Now, something that I've experienced over the years, I mean, I've been making rap music and beats and stuff since I was 14. And, you know, I'm turning 35 this year. So it's been the majority of my life I've been doing this. Yeah. And there's still people that I know that I make hip hop, but then they don't realize that I also make the music. Yeah. There's like this assumption that I'm one of those people just buying beats or doing whatever for whatever reason. And I'm curious if you've ever dealt with this. Do people like just assume that you have nothing to do with your production?
It's funny because I'm very intentional about my social media footprint. So I always lead with producer.
Okay.
Because like there was a time when after I released the album that people were like, yeah, you need beats. Yeah.
I get that all the time.
And I'm like, and you don't want to come off as like a jerk, but I'm like, I produced 80% of my album. Sure. And you're asking me, do I need beats? Now I know where to go if I want, because that's how I got the beat off Benji. That's how I got the beat off Hussein. Excuse me, Picasso. But yeah, like I know I'm a student of music, so if I love your beat style, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, if I want to do this type, I can hit up Brian, or if I want that style, I can hit up C. Scott or Bus Crates or whoever it is. Yeah. But for the most part, I kind of like, you know, my little flex of producing for myself. I love working with other artists and producers, don't get me wrong, but there was a while that I was just like telling people, please read my bio. Please read my bio.
I mean, there's been video. It's like I'll post studio videos of me, like, you know, like working on stuff, and people still just don't. I mean, a lot of people get it. I feel like more people probably know than don't know. It's just funny when like people that are supposedly your homies are like that clueless, but. What are you gonna do? They mean well.
I was really, really happy that I was just on NPR. Mind-blowing experience, by the way. That was really cool. And they put Pittsburgh producer INEZ. I was like, yes. Because you never know. Someone could say singer-songwriter because I helped her help my student.
I think I may have led your introduction with singer-songwriter, and
cool.
I apologize.
It's cool. No, it's fine.
I did say producer.
I'm all of those things. I'm such a like... I like being a jack of all trades.
I don't want to fuck up your whole social media thing.
No. Because I think when you lead with producers, they're like, oh, really? Because you're gonna find out I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. Like, if you spend any time on my social media, you'll know that I sing. But you know, I like the producer and engineering stuff a lot too. I just mastered a song for someone, and I was just like, this is really fulfilling. I don't know why, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah. In terms of production, what are you using? Like, what DAWs are you into? What programs, hardware, software? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff, but let's get nerdy.
Let's get nerdy.
What are you using?
Okay. I started producing with FL Studio 6 in 2006.
Nice.
FL's always gonna be my baby. I love the way that you chop samples in there, and sequence drums. But I went from FL. I learned a little Reason. I didn't really like Reason. Berkeley made us Pro Tools children, of course. So I was doing a lot of mixing in Pro Tools, but still producing in FL. And then when I bought my MacBook, everything just kind of changed. So now I'm in Logic. Okay, I'm mixing in Logic. There's a couple of things I don't like about Logic. Like, I think that Pro Tools has the advantage over. I've used Studio One with clients. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but I could get the job done. I think all DAWs are relative, to be honest. Like, find the one you know how to work. I still have Ableton still in the box at home with the push too. Yeah. It's chilling in the box. Don't know when I'm going to download that. But yeah, I do a lot of my, shout out to Aaron Karsh. He's the one who got me. I don't know. This is not the most, it's not the easiest or the quickest way to produce, but I pretty much, on all of the drums on my album, have slid the waveforms where I wanted them to be versus using like a sequencer. Yeah. But yeah, I saw him. I was like, why is he doing that? And then I did it. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this. Because then, like, all right, I know I might want the snare on 3, so I can just go drop it on 3. And I've learned some cool commands in Logic since then to make everything a lot easier. But yeah, pretty much Logic. Just like their interface, honestly. It's really not even. And honestly, I think the sound quality of a Logic out the box is a lot easier. Like, I feel like you have to do a little bit more in Pro Tools to have it sound as comparable. So, Yeah. I'm in Logic right now.
Yeah, no, that I'm always interested to know what like people are using. So going into that Fruity Loop stuff, you still got any of those tracks floating around?
So fun fact, Hide and Seek was actually, I lied. Hide and Seek, the song on my album, that was an FL track from a while ago. And then my outro was also a track from a while ago. So I think those may be the only two FL like beats I have on the album. But I still have all of my tracks. So some of them are really hard. I'm like, I might have to touch those up and put them out. I might do a beat tape, honestly, too. Because I just want people to hear kind of like how I've progressed since then. Like I've had some really, really cool brush-ins as a 17, 18, and 19-year-old when I first started. Like The Alchemist has heard some of my beats.
Okay.
Craziness. There was a label trying to, oh goodness. I had someone listen to this track I made and was like, dude, can I send this to Beyonce? And I was like, I went numb. Like, I don't know how, but from my knee down, I was like, what? Like, just complete numb. He was like, yeah, I'm really good friends with I Rock Nation. And I was like, hyperventilating. So yeah, my FL days, they're not behind me. I'm gonna tap back in. I just hate FL20. I tried to like get into it.
20 now?
They're up to 20. And the mixer is like, the way they route it's so weird now, and I hate it. I'm still on like FL10 on my computer. I don't do the whole, it's new, it's shiny. I'm still on Pro Tools 10 too. I need to upgrade to 12 because I need that offline bounce. I have a story about that, but I edited a fashion show that was like 45 minutes long, and I had to change one part and had to wait 40 minutes for it to bounce out. I was like, that's a nightmare. So yeah, happy that Pro Tools has come into the offline bounce phase. But me and FL, that's just like ebony and ivory. We're always going to be together.
In terms of hardware, is there any particular hardware or anything that you're using, or are you just like mostly inside the box, just using software stuff?
I have an Apollo, a UAD Apollo. I am a believer in UAD now. That's the focus of my rack. Like, I didn't believe it. Like, I heard they did Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly on that thing. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I bought it and I was like, this is serious. The emulators on it are really, really solid. The preamps are amazing. So that's my baby. I have a Behringer X32, just a route for my monitors and stuff. But nah, man, my Apollo is where it's at. It's where the magic happens.
I'm curious about the time that you spent in school in learning how to produce. When you were working on projects in school, I imagine you probably got to work on maybe some different styles of music that you probably normally wouldn't work on.
Yeah.
And like, if there was anything that you learned specifically from working in a style of music outside of what you normally do, that you were able to bring into your music that helped you become a better producer.
Yeah. I honestly, when I was at Berkeley, the songs I love to mix the most are rock songs. I'm just like, dude, you gotta get that screaming guitar in there. You gotta make sure the bass is coming through the right way. You have to make sure that the kick beater is like so many things you don't really think about. Cause like hip hop drums, you know when you pick that sample out if it's gonna knock or not. When someone's giving you a full like
full drum kit, cymbals,
overheads, you're like, where the hell am I gonna do? Like where am I gonna pan everything? Then the vocals still have to come in. So I learned a lot about parallel compression and gating, phase, especially when you're talking about drum kits, phase, because they would intentionally give us like stuff that was messed up, and then we would have to like,
tricky,
wrong with this?
Tricky.
But yeah, that was really cool because we all had the same files, but we all had vastly different sounding mixes, of course, because it's everyone paints differently. But so yeah, I learned about. Oh my goodness. I think that was the most beneficial thing about college was styles that I didn't typically do. Electronic, country, not a country fan. I like old country. Give me Dolly. Don't give me this new stuff. So yeah, absolutely. And that too was probably why I love engineering other people as well. Like, cause I can mix myself, but give me your stuff. Let me see what I can do with it. Damn, parallel compression was really like, they really drilled that into us. Trying to think. Oh no, vocal production techniques. I took a class. His name is Charles something. I can't forget his last name, but he worked with Bad Boy, so he did a lot of like Faith Evans and Biggie tracks, and like teaching us how to like really have those heavier harmonies in a certain place. Like if you listen to my album, like harmonies are everywhere. Try to throw in as much as I could. But yeah, Berkeley definitely was big on how to produce an artist from an interpersonal standpoint, but also like when you're actually directing them what to do in the studio, as far as harmony and vocal stylings and stuff goes. So all of that helped me, if I'm being honest. And it wasn't so much, you don't really have time to work on your stuff when you're in college. I was the biggest misconception. I'm like, I'm going to go to music school and I'm going to be able to make songs all day for myself. I made like 4 songs for myself when I was in college. It was that rigorous. I
mean, in a way you may have not been working on songs for yourself, but you were working on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, but the really cool thing too was getting to work with people from all over the world. Like working with people I worked on projects with people in London and Taiwan and Sri Lanka, like everywhere. And having us like group project up was like amazing. And then you get to call on the same people when you're out of college, like, hey, you want to put some cello on this for me? Yeah, super cool.
Hopefully whenever, things come back around and you're able to do some touring and get around, you can link up with those people again. And
absolutely.
Get to see everybody.
Yeah.
With everything that has happened over the past 6 months, or how long is it? How long have we been in quarantine? What is it? July, August? It's August right now.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So it has almost been half a year already.
Yep.
Which is insane to think about. How often are you're still working on stuff? You still rehearsing? You still?
So I'm like I said, I like to say I'm sharpening the katana.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get back on my drums.
Okay.
Get my drums.
Like drum kit?
Drum kit.
Okay.
I play more of a jazz styling. And that's,
so you upgraded from the upside down garbage can.
Yeah, we're beyond that now.
Okay.
So yeah, the last gig I did at Thunderbird, I opened for Soul Rebels, and I got to play kit on stage for the first time, like with my drummer still there. So we did a double kit setup.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
So I was like, that was amazing, but I'm rusty. So let me get back to that. So that's what I've been doing. I've never really had vocal lessons, so I'm trying to invest into my voice.
Oh yeah, because you were in school, you were just focused on production.
Like they made us do solfege and stuff. I hated that, but worst thing ever. But yeah, I've never really had. That's another people like, what? You don't.
So when did singing begin for you then?
I sang for the first time when I was 18 at my birthday party for my mom.
Okay. What'd you sing?
Oh Lord, it was like a hymn that she really liked to listen to.
Okay, all right.
And from then people were just like jaw on the floor, because like if you've ever seen me like go for it, you're like she got some wind, she got some pipes on her. But yeah, I was always scared. I don't know, like I'm not a big hey look at me person, but yeah, that's when I started singing. I didn't like it. Also, someone pushed me at the front of the stage at Shadow Lounge during a beat battle.
Okay.
That was terrifying. So that was the second instance of me singing. But yeah.
So my assumption then is you spent a lot more time doing production. You were always a producer first, then the singer-songwriter second. So are you recording your own vocals?
Yes.
What's that experience like for you? Do you like it or do you hate it?
If anybody who's done a session with me is like, Danny's tough, because she's going to make you keep doing it. I'm even 3 times harder on myself.
Yeah.
Like, it gets to the point where I'm just like, come on, Danielle, get it right. Damn.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Shout outs to Stacy in the other room. Stacy, how many times have you heard me yelling at myself recording vocals?
Yeah, like I beat myself up. So it can be tough. I've learned to take breaks and pauses, because clearly, like, if you're not getting it by the 15th take, you just need to like chill out on it.
Yeah.
But my sessions can get really wild, and it's literally just me like hunched over in front of my mic, like, all right, let's get that.
Yeah,
I
have a nice little workflow now for whenever I'm tracking stuff. What I'll do these days is I will just like, I'll record the song front to back like 10 times. I won't listen to any playback, and then I'll shut it down and I won't open it up till the next day. And then I'll go through and be like, all right, that verse is good, that one's not good. Maybe I'll have to comp some stuff together. And then once I have like a good skeleton, I'm like, okay, now today's layers day. Then I do that. But that's just my method. Because like, if I do this thing, well, when I'm recording rap, it's like, unless it's a production thing where you want to record it line by line because you're trying to do some weird panning thing or weird layering thing, it's like, I want to record the verse in one take if I can, because that's just that's some purist bullshit, I suppose. But I just feel like it feels better, because sometimes like, you ever heard a verse where like it obviously drops off or sounds like cut, like it's like real weird, and it's just like distracting.
You want a story on that? So my song Love by INEZ, I recorded, I don't know what happened, what I was thinking, but it was definitely, I was still in college when I recorded that. Or at least a demo for it. And I recorded on 2 different mics. I recorded on a ribbon and on a condenser.
Okay.
But there was a part I was like, dude, like, I gotta comp this. I gotta come back in. And so like, when I was mixing, I did reverse reverb tricks and stuff. So you can't really tell that I'm switching between 2 mics. Okay. Because if I left it alone, it's blatant, like day, like, oh, this is not the same mic. So that song is my least. It's the song, that doesn't really sound like the rest of them, because it was before I got my Apollo 2. But typically when I'm recording, sometimes I don't even have the words written yet. So like, I do a lot of mumble takes. So like, Mumble Track City is this person right here.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't know if anybody that is a fan of my metal band is watching or not, but that's literally how I write all the metal stuff. Like, I like mumble growl. It's just like, I try to figure out, because it's all about the rhythm with when you're doing metal stuff, because I'm just yelling. So it's like, I got to find the rhythm that fits best. So I will just do like a demo take of like, like, this is what the rhythm I want, and then figure out the words later.
So that's the thing. Like, I use that to be like, all right, you like the way this sounds, so find a word that ends in this vowel sound or this consonant sound, and then I just go in and punch. Like, I do it all the time. And sometimes like I'll let people like hear the mumble version, so they can like be like, how did you write this? I was like, it's literally me mumbling till I figure out like, like cadence. I think prosody is really important to me, like the way you blend the words with the melody, with the cadence and the timing of everything. That's super important in my music. So I try to make sure I'm writing verses from that, with that like at the forefront, with the exception of a couple songs I had freestyle. But absolutely, I like doing piece by piece. So like, especially since I'm big harmony heavy, like when I do the hook, the first hook will have a few harmonies, then I'll copy that hook towards the end, and then I'll bring the house down. So that's kind of like, if you listen to the album, you can kind of tell certain songs, like I like sprinkling thing as the song progresses. The emotional contour, in the words of my Berkeley professor. I have a female sidekick in my band who does a lot of vocals and is basically like a hype girl / she sings a lot of stuff. She's like all of the sex appeal when it comes to the band, basically, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just rapping and being all angry, and then like she balances it out. But whenever we're tracking her, it's a lot more meticulous, focused on melody and layers, section by section. I'm not just like, do the whole song 10 times and then you can't hear it. It's a completely different process for whenever I'm tracking stuff with her. I just had a thought.
And this is real dumb, but I'm gonna throw it out there because whatever, it's a podcast. What's a podcast without something dumb? So you mentioned, putting together a track. It was just mumbling, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's how mumble rap was born? Do you think somebody just kind of mumbled something and then a producer was like, don't even bother. That's fine. Just leave it like that.
If your auto-tune is good. Okay, so that's another thing. Like, I use a lot of, when I first bought Waves Tune, which is the plugin that I predominantly use, I literally sat in front of my microphone and sang gibberish for like an hour and a half because it was just fun.
Hell yeah.
It was just fun. It was really fun. And I was like, okay, now you have to get serious. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't have a problem with that type of music. I do want to put that out there. I'm not like one of these like
no.
It's not for me. I can tell you that.
I don't really listen to a lot of it. Because I like growing up in the 90s, you had Nas and Jay-Z and like
sure
KRS-One and like all these. You don't really want to listen to that, but not knocking anyone. I think the kids are all right. But you know what? That might be how it started, if we're being completely honest. Because it's really fun. And that's why that's what I'll knock them for doing it, because they're literally just having a good time in the booth. But it's so fun. Especially you get that right delay, you get that right reverb. It's just like, man. I did a interlude for someone that'll probably never see the light of day again, but it's the funniest thing I've ever done in the studio, and I'll send it to you so you can laugh. Okay, because it's hilarious.
I would love to hear it.
It's absolutely hilarious.
That's the one thing that can sometimes be hard when you're writing music that's really introspective, and you're really putting your heart out there. I mean, not that it's not fun, but sometimes it's not the same kind of fun as just doing some bullshit. But one of the great things about making music, especially with other people, is that it needs to be fun. And sometimes you just gotta drop your guard and just goof off for a bit. I got plenty of goofy stuff that nobody will really ever hear. But it's a good time.
I recorded the second verse to my song Heartbeat. I was pissed, and I sent Clara a garbage take, which was pretty much me just like jerking off on it, and it was crazy because I was just like, but she like died laughing. She's like, I'm gonna put this out. I'm like, please don't, because I'm gonna get canceled. But no, it's for me, like, there's honestly, now that you're saying that, you're absolutely right. I don't think there's a time when I was like, oh my goodness, this is so much fun when I'm recording. It just doesn't happen like that. I enjoy it. It's just not
same.
It's just not fun.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's like, you're putting things out there that, it feels good to get it out.
Yeah.
It's maybe therapeutic and like, it's fun to just to be able to record and do what you love. I think that I self-produce all my stuff. You self-produce all your stuff. And the only time it bothers me is like whenever you're trying to get like a really powerful performance, but you're also trying to make sure that the mics aren't clipping and that like your compression settings are good. Ooh. And like you're doing like all this stuff at the same time. And it's hard to it can be hard to like lock yourself in.
Yeah. There were two songs, actually one song that I really like, I wanted to shout a lot, Celebrate. And it's because I was using my upper register to sing, and it was like, for some reason, the compressor was not doing what it was supposed to do. So we ended up automating EQ for that, which was a nightmare. Never want to do that again. But it was like so frustrating because I'm like, I'm trying to give this powerful performance because the song is about like realizing that you're an amazing person, an amazing being. And I'm just like so frustrated because it's just like every take after take after take after take. I just changed the settings so many times on that to try to get like a powerful performance, but it's not clipping. That was a nightmare. So it definitely takes you out of that. Especially like my song Stay With Me Too. I was like, come on. I just want to give an emotive performance without sounding like crap sonically. So
yeah,
it's It's a lot. I'm hard. Like I said, I'm hard on myself too.
I mean, it's, if you really want to get nerdy about production stuff, like the majority of my stuff I've self-produced, but I have worked in the studio with other engineers and stuff before, just because I wanted to not engineer my own vocals for a project. And there have been times when, like, if I'm doing a harsher part, we'll swap mics. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like maybe, a Shure SM7B is like great for harsh vocals, but if you're doing something quieter, it's like, okay, well, use this other mic because it's gonna pick up better. But not everybody has like a plethora of microphones and somebody that's smart enough to think about that. Yeah,
I pretty much use two. I use my Neumann TLM 102. And then I have a Rode. Rode makes some pretty damn good mics. Yeah. I did not know that. I had borrowed my homie's. He has a NTK something. And I borrowed it and I was like, this thing sounds amazing. And I bought it. Of course, mine sounds nothing like his. He was like, yeah, I think they changed like the parts of it. I was like, no. But it's still got the job done.
That's so funny. So wrapping up, we should probably one more time promo this Indiegogo thing real quick. Let the people know about that.
Yeah. If you can support this wonderful campaign. The focus is on the visual for clouds, merch, digital marketing, and getting my band travel and equipment fund together. But also we have perks. So like $5 gets you an INEZ sticker. If you are a big spender of money, you don't know what to do with it, your daddy Warbucks, $5,000, you can be the executive producer on my second album. You get to pull up to the studio, see songwriting sessions, and it comes with a bunch of other perks. But like being in the process with me as I create my second album, and you get the producer credit. So those are things. Contributions and perks are separate. So if you just want to be a good person and give me money, you can contribute. If you say, hey, I need something for my $1, we have perks. So $5 to 5,000, there's something in there that'll wet your whistle. And it's honestly, it's amazing that we've even hit almost $2,000. Like people like wanting to invest in me means so much. So very appreciative.
Yeah. I remember I put out an album on vinyl a few years ago, and I did it all through a crowdfunding thing. And I was like surprised that people actually gave a shit. It's very humbling. It's very nice to know that people do care.
Yeah. And then they want to wear my merch. You're like, oh my goodness, the hoodies. Yeah. I'm like, thank you, because I am insecure about all of this. No, just grateful. I have a great team of people behind me. So whatever we do get, we're going to make it shake. We're going to make it work. Yeah.
All right. And with all that being said, actually one last thing that we should probably do. Where can people find you? Obviously, you got the album on Bandcamp, which let me pull this up real quick. Here, there's us. Bandcamp, there it is. Whoop. And this is probably on streaming services and all that stuff as well. Yeah. If people prefer.
If you want the clean version, it's only available on Bandcamp. If you don't mind my swear words, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, pretty much every streaming platform, YouTube, all that good stuff. Also, I'm on social media. Musical Prodigy is usually the tag. But type in INEZ. It's all caps everywhere. The only place it's not all caps is streaming, because they don't like capitalization in there. Weirdos. But yeah, my Linktree is Linktree/INEZ Music. And that also has like all of my links and stuff. So, and my Cash App, because I like money.
All right. Well, with that being said, that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. One more time, INEZ. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat 2020. Woo woo! Thanks for listening. And yo, charge your batteries so your lights don't die. That's all I'm gonna say. Because it got real dark in here, and this camera froze again, but we're at the end.
It's all good.
fuck it. We're done. Goodbye. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it.
Thank you.